Welcome to God, Freedom, and Bitcoin. I'm Janet Gatewood, here with my husband, Todd Gatewood.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us.
And we are delighted to have Jake Boyle with us today with Caleb and Brown. Oh my goodness, we love Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown is the world's leading cryptocurrency brokerage. When people join our club here at the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, they always say, how do we buy Bitcoin? We always say Caleb and Brown. And so Jake, who is the Chief Commercial Officer, welcome. We've got a lot to talk about today. Thank you for joining us.
And thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
You have been with Caleb and Brown. Have you been with him since the beginning?
Yeah, since the beginning. So we started in the 2016, 2017 range in the market. So back when Bitcoin was a few $100s, we didn't really have much of an altcoin sector in that period of time. And it was an extremely difficult asset class to buy. Hence, starting a brokerage model made a lot of sense in that period of time.
Right. So, so this has been since 2017. Did you ever think you'd have 35,000 clients?
No. So we started the business principally because we just all individually had so many friends and family members wanting to get into crypto. And that's completely fine. Like if you were going to help your mom buy some Bitcoin, of course, you're going to put in hours and hours to get it done. The issue is when your mom starts telling her friends and then they start calling you up and saying, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? And all of a sudden you've got a full-time job holding people's hands, walking them through the process. But ironically, what was found through that was there actually is a major gap in the market because there's new technologies and new things that people want to invest in. But a lot of the time, the products and the services that are out there can be fraught with error. There's unfortunately still to this day, an alarming amount of scams, risks, fraud. There's a lot of ways that you can pay exorbitant fees without even knowing it. There's ways that you can get yourself locked out without even knowing it. There's so many different risks that the crypto space still has. And don't get me wrong, we're extremely excited and empowered by the space, but at the same time, we recognize where things are not as good as they ought to be. So once we started helping friends and family, we realized this actually makes sense to scale as a real business model because clearly people are going to want to get into the space, but they want to do it in a professional, comfortable way. They don't want to be trading out there like it's the Wild West and they could lose everything tomorrow.
Well, and it really seems like every week, especially up here at the club, we're getting those questions of people that have been scammed and everything. And it's just the basic stuff that you hear throughout the space. And that's everything you said rings true because I can tell you being on the ground, we see it daily.
We literally had a class today on security. I mean, people are being scammed all the time in this space. We need companies like Caleb and Brown, somewhere that we trust and can depend upon. I mean, to be able to be, one of the things I love about Caleb and Brown is your concierge service. We can be on the phone with y'all in minutes. I mean, it is, you're not just an email lost out and you hope Coinbase might get back. You hope they don't lock you out. You have someone on the line very quickly to resolve whatever the issue is or help you, guide you. I love that part of your service.
I think that what's really alarming for us is, now obviously I'm not here to can on any other services that exist out there. There are fantastic businesses in the cryptocurrency space, from retail exchanges all the way up to more premium institutional companies. One thing that alarmed me was reading that in the month of December, there were some of the major exchanges in the world had north of $50 million worth of customer assets stolen from the platform. Now, I'm not pointing my finger and saying this exchange is responsible for that. I don't know enough about the matter to be able to comment on who's responsible for what. But what we do know is the degree of social engineering where people can be spooked into signing through wrong websites. They can forfeit private information, such as login data to an exchange. If an exchange has got millions, tens of millions of users, they will rely entirely on automation, and it'll ultimately be up to the consumer of that product to hold themselves accountable. So if an exchange has 10 million clients, an individual client who has a bad experience because they don't understand something or because they were socially engineered into some sort of scam, as brutal as it sounds, the platform is just going to have to say, well, that's your fault, unfortunately. So I understand the place people are coming from because you cannot hold everyone's hand if you have 10 million clients. I fully appreciate that. But at the same time, when the sum of money stolen on a monthly basis in crypto is as high as it's been in months like December and January, something needs to be done about it. So I am hoping that businesses shift to more of a concierge premium service if that can protect clients in that respect.
I think that's wonderful because it is a scary thought. Like you've got people looking at, like, say, retirees, seeing that their money's losing 15% plus every year just sitting in the bank and trying to figure out, how can I retire? How can I make this last? And to have a place you trust, because imagine sending large sums to exchanges when we've seen so many get shut down, so many issues in the last year. But to be with a company you've been around since 2017, again, we're on the phone with you in minutes. We know you. Like Andrew came and saw us in December. Those relationships, you don't have those with all of these other exchanges. And I mean, you represent like 250 cryptos. It's amazing. And literally, we wire the funds to you, and it's in you do the buy almost immediately. And then the minute it clears, it can go right to your wallet. Like, it's the easiest, quickest process, but it gives such peace of mind the way that you have set up Caleb and Brown.
I think on our end, we just want the approach to be very simple. So we want the idea to be, if someone wants to invest in this industry, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, you name it, any of the major cryptocurrencies or the less major ones, we'll work our best to trade it and get it for you. We want people to be able to focus on, this is what I want to invest in. This is why I want to invest in it. And that's actually all the thinking I really need to do here. I don't want to be stressing about whether I'm going to log into the account one day and it's going to be a 404 error and I can't get myself in, or if the coin's now blacklisted and I have 5 days to withdraw before the account gets closed, or the market goes parabolic and you have a withdrawal limit of $2,000 a day with a withdrawal fee on every transaction. Those are the kind of things we don't want clients to have to worry about. And on our end too, we appreciate that everyone needs a different service. So if you have a more similar to private banking, where you can dedicate the resources tailored to the individual. You mentioned your broker, Andrew, who recently spent some time in the States. He actually met probably 50, 60 odd clients throughout his travels there. And a lot of people said, like, hey, I actually would love to meet you in person. I like to do business the old school way. And he said, okay, no problem. I'll accommodate. I'll come see you.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the concierge white glove service that you guys offer is unlike anything that we've seen in the space. And that says a lot for what you guys are and how you conduct your business and everything. So I can say from the people we've talked to, they are pleasantly surprised at service. You take it to the next level as far as the space goes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, for our club members, the only issues they've had is actually their banks, because in this space prior to President Trump, people were being unbanked. He even called out Bank of America at Davos for that reason. And so to have a place, that are limiting what they can send based on it, but it's a much more crypto and Bitcoin friendly environment now. I mean, have you seen, I'm sure this has been a huge, wonderful transition for your team at Caleb and Brown.
It definitely has. So during the Biden administration, there was certainly an unsung war against crypto. It was not something which was advertised or something that was stark and in your face every day. But whenever you would try to do several things as a cryptocurrency entrepreneur or business, whatever the case may be, or a large crypto investor, you would constantly have these reoccurring battles that never really made any sense. And it goes from the small things such as the bank denying your transaction, but then after finding out that the company you're sending it to is clearly legitimate and it's been established for several years, they'll then find a different reason why you can't send that transaction. Oh, we actually can't send funds to this particular bank account for unrelated reasons. And much the case, even with myself, like I've had bank accounts over the years say, hey, Jake, you haven't done anything wrong. You have not breached any of our terms, but we will no longer be banking with you as a customer indefinitely, which is basically their polite way of saying, because you are in the crypto space, we don't want you to be a customer for the rest of your life, which impacts whether you can get a mortgage on a house, whether you can finance anything, and you ultimately just become more pushed and pushed away, more disempowered and alienated from traditional systems. And bear in mind, on our end, we're not some wild crypto maximalists who want everything to burn and crypto to be the only thing that exists. No, we just want to have a modest, healthy, good 5-star business, help people invest in the space. And a large part of our service involves actually selling cryptocurrency into cash so people could go buy a holiday home or a new car or whatever the case may be. So I definitely think there's been a serious war on it.
No,
So
the funny part about that statement is it's like they don't want competition. And, this is good competition because competition improves things, yet they don't want that. And you're kind of, it's like infringing on their business model, which really is not a good business model at all. It's good for them, but it's not good for everyday people who are trying to survive inflation and make it in this world alone. So kudos.
absolutely.
Yeah, kudos to sticking to your guns on this and fighting this stuff going on.
But you know what's crazy? Several years ago, when I first started to come into personal gripes with banking, and the bank starting to see me as someone who was not a friend of theirs anymore, despite many years of just being a pretty good customer, really, what I found was I was not someone who had any kind of conspiratorial nature to me. I just assumed that, oh, well, this must be because of some new legislation surrounding crypto, or it must be because of this. Well, it wasn't. And in fact, in hindsight now, I think, well, for every American or Australian client who says, hey, I'm going to take that $100,000 worth of savings, which has been fractionally held by the bank and loaned out, and they're generating great revenues on that, and I'm getting my little bit of interest that's probably significantly less than inflation. Instead of me leaving the money in the bank, if I put 70% of it into Bitcoin and maybe 30% of it into a US dollar stable coin, the US dollar stablecoin alone on decentralized platforms like Aave is going to generate a better yield than what it would in the bank. And you can move it and do whatever you want with it any second you like. The Bitcoin over the last year has had immeasurable capital growth, which has outperformed the vast majority of stocks, and it's certainly outperformed what you get in the bank. Now, when I look back at those transactions that clients had, that is quite literally just a complete shift out of one system and into a new system. And that money is unlikely ever to find that safe home back in that bank that they were once advertising. So when I see that, I can see why there was such a war on crypto from the traditional sectors. And to your original question, yes, it's very empowering. And I'm very optimistic with the new administration that has seemed to have done a complete U-turn on that bureaucratic and cruel innovation stifling tactic that they used to have.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what people have been through. And I think so many more people were moving money out of the banks than anyone realized, which is why they kind of started cracking down. I mean, even, you've had a banking license in the US now for how long?
So the US is a complicated beast. We have various states in America require MTL licensing, which is not a cryptocurrency license as such. It's more of a license to handle the transactions revolving around US dollars. So as an example, like we have that license in the state of Pennsylvania. They're very clear and concise in what is required there. Whereas then there are some other states in America which haven't quite narrowed down exactly what their licensing regime has been. But we operate in Australia and America, and all the licenses that we do require, which is quite extensive. We have compliance and legal teams who navigate all that.
Yeah, I was looking at your website. You've got 61 employees, it looks like, at Caleb and Brown, and there's a whole part trying to make sure all the licensing is straight because it's complex. And I think what we'll see, and you can agree, may agree or disagree this year, but I really think as we see regulation shift and things get easier, and we have this working group in Washington, D.C., I think all of it's going to be streamlined, which we're really excited about, because the whole point we're here is to bring mass adoption of Bitcoin, cryptos, to educate people. That's what we do. Live classes every week. It's a huge space to understand. Your team's wonderful. And anyone calls with a question, they're wonderful walking them through those questions. I've never had anyone on the phone with Caleb and Brown that hasn't been just great and nice and chipper. It's 24/7, so it's like really late or really early for your team because you're 17 hours ahead of us, I think, right now. Are you in Sydney right now?
God. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and it's summer, and it's 9:15 in the morning Friday.
So it's Friday, yes.
Yeah. Let's not even start on time zone. It's
and it's 4:15 Central Standard Time, and like 36 degrees here in Nashville, Tennessee now. It's night and day.
We're very fortunate as a business. I think we've got great human resourcing where we endeavor to hire people who kind of fit the exact mold as everybody else. So I appreciate that you've only had good experiences speaking to everyone at Caleb and Brown, but I'm also I'm not going to pretend I'm surprised. We've really put a lot of effort into hiring the right people there. It's got to fit the ethos of the business. We need people who are excited about cryptocurrency, but they've wanted to empower their friends and family throughout that process. And they're just looking to extend the bucket of friends and family into a more multinational client base. And everyone's been able to do that.
So let me ask you a question, Jake. What new is going on at Caleb and Brown? Any behind the scenes stuff you can tell us about, or things that are coming down the pike?
For sure. So we're revamping our online login via our website portal. Will be revamped over the coming months. So it'll look significantly nice with a couple of new features. We also have a mobile application, which should be coming out in, what are we now? Today, on the 14th of February today, probably end of March is what, if I had to put money on, I'd say end of March. We should have a native application, so a mobile app that you can do everything through. We actually already have it. We're just going through the final rounds of testing and so forth. I've been using it myself. So that's very exciting. Beyond that, we'll also be having a lot more people in the USA over the course of this year. We recognize that being able to have those old school in-person meetings really is so much better than anything you can automate or try and get a computer to do online. That's just the honest truth of it. So being able to ensure that more of our staffing starts moving towards America and spending time over there, whether it's conferences or doing road shows and meeting clients, that's something we're going to invest very heavily into. And beyond that, it's really just recognizing that the market is extremely volatile, which means people are going to be excited on a Monday. They're going to be terribly depressed on a Tuesday, but then they're going to be excited again on Wednesday. So it's all fine.
24/7, 300. I know, 24/7, 365, right? That's
exactly.
How it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as a result of that,
yeah,
we're looking to deploy a lot more generally complicated products, which we can simplify for clients. So being able to offer things like stop limit orders on altcoins that don't typically have a market that would ever allow you to do that. So basically clients can look at their portfolio and think, well, I've had a really good run. My portfolio is looking great. I think it's going to go a lot higher, but I'm just going to get my broker to put a big stop limit below on all of these wild altcoins that I might have. Bitcoin, I'll probably let for a few years ride. But some of the altcoins, they might put those safety nets in place. And because we're a brokerage, we have a team of traders, we trade with institutional counterparties, which means that the complexities and what we can offer on difficult transactions is very much able to be tailored, and it's significantly more than what you could get on just a standard exchange that you log into. So we're really trying to create complex products to help people capture their profits without having to sell things all at once or buy things all at once, being able to kind of, whether it's dollar cost averaging on the way up or dollar cost averaging out on the way out, whether it's putting in stop limits so you can guarantee that take profit on illiquid altcoins, or revamping ways that we can offer our cold storage solution. We're always keeping that free of charge. We're never going to charge anyone for that. They're the kind of things that we're recognizing we need to work on throughout these coming months.
Okay, I'm so excited. Like the stop loss limits, the app, because I'm imagining someone with their mobile wallet, they've got their hot wallet and they move their altcoin or Bitcoin, but we don't ever want to sell Bitcoin, move their altcoin over to your, you probably would have a mobile wallet within that app, right? And they could do their trading within the app. Is that?
Yeah, so the app, within the app, you'll have the visibility of your wallet address. So, you can log in and you can press deposit crypto and your address will come up, and you can also, put in your own address if you want to withdraw to a ledger or a Trezor or whatever the case is. The only thing is the wallet address itself is not a mobile, it's not a mobile wallet address, nor is it a hot wallet. It's still an offline cold storage wallet. It's just your visibility of it can now be viewed through your phone. So if your phone gets stolen, for example, that has not allowed anyone access to those coins, even if your phone is already unlocked. There's still several processes behind that would prohibit that from being able to be made as a withdrawal. So the idea is that we want to have the complexity and the value of more institutional products on the trading end and the custody side. But as far as the client is concerned, we want to make it as palatable and simple and easy so they can go on their phone and they can see their broker's photo there. They can see the team surrounding the broker, and they can just message the broker directly through the app as well. And then if the broker's asleep, it'll be someone, doing the evening shift in Australia or America replying instead. So we're excited for that.
I totally love that. And that is what I love about Caleb and Brown. What we both love about it is the security, because that is so much more secure, where they can see their account, but it's offline, but they can put their stop loss order in. I think that's super exciting.
Yeah, and on our end too, if a client has a stop limit in place or whatever the case may be, that doesn't detract from their coins being in cold storage. So a big thing is someone will say, "Oh, I really want to sell these coins, but I don't trust this exchange, but I have to move them to the exchange and have them in the exchange hot wallet in order to get them sold." So we solve that problem by allowing clients to withdraw coins from their own personal wallets into their wallets with Caleb and Brown. And you can verify on chain, of course, that the coins are in unique wallets. They're not commingled with other clients' coins whatsoever. And then you can put in place your limit orders and your stop limits. And we can put them in place and say, hey, that's all good to go. If that price hits, we're going to get this sold, get this bought, whatever the case may be. But your coins are still in the offline cold storage. We can do both at the same time. So it's not like you have to forfeit your security standards in order to get that quick liquidity to execute a trade. We can allow you to execute trades 24/7, and your coins can still be in cold storage 24/7.
This is going to be amazing, because we do expect Bitcoin to keep going up this year. Everyone has a different prediction, but some people do take some profit. They do pay off debt, whatever it is they do with it. But to have a trusted source where they can move it and sell it through there, where, because Coinbase and other places have limited, like what I think there were sometimes they were $2,500 limit. There's so much you can buy and so much you can move off. And forgive me if I've got those numbers wrong, because I don't use Coinbase. But so many users do. But so the difference, like Caleb and Brown, I think that the minimum, if they were to make a buy of Bitcoin or cryptos through Caleb and Brown, the minimum is $500. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you're in the US, we do have local US banking. We have a couple of banks over there. So if someone signs up with an account, you'll see who your broker is. You'll see how our processes look. You'll also see our banking information. So we'll have local US banking that you can send funds to. And from that point forward, it's a really seamless process.
That's so much easier.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I know when Janet and I first got into it, it was like I think it was $2,500 to make a purchase with you guys. So, and this makes it a lot easier for more people to get into it, lowering it to $500. So I know a lot of people really appreciated that, because, you know, everybody has different standards, and some people don't have quite that amount of money to spend purchasing cryptos and stuff, but to lower it down to $500 makes it a little bit easier for the average person. So that was a great move on your guys' part to do that.
You know what the biggest thing there was? So full transparency, we lose so much money every time someone does a $500 purchase.
Oh, so you're sacrificing. There you go. Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? If someone is going to use a company, first of all, it's cryptocurrency, which is, whether we like to admit it or not, it is a daunting industry at the best of times. It's a scary industry. We aren't going to pretend that FTX was only a few years ago, Celsius and the like. It's a scary place. And as a result of that, who would we be if we said, hey, we're a business that we started this out because we're wanting to help friends and family, and we want to meet our clients in person, and we say all these great things, but then we say, oh, by the way, if you want to send us money, it's a $25,000 minimum or a $10,000 minimum. And now it's putting the client in a position where they're thinking, well, like, everything you're saying sounds great, your reviews are great, but damn, like, I've kind of to send like a few $100s just to get myself used to the process and figure this out. So that's one part of it. And the second part is too, we also appreciate that we believe that the market is going to continue to do better. And if someone comes to us and says, oh, I want to invest $500 in cryptocurrency, well, if you can invest that and we can hold your hand through that process and give you an empowered process, and your assets can appreciate, not only is that $500 going to be worth significantly more if all goes well and the market is obviously performing the way we like, but in addition to that, you've just got yourself an ally in your corner on the other side of the world who's going to be raving about their experience with you as their broker. And that's always going to pay its dividends one way or another. So we just take the approach of just respecting that if you deliver a good quality service, if you help people out, it'll always pay its dividends one way or another. But you just can't be so meticulous and picky, because once you do that, now you're no longer delivering that 5-star service you once set out to achieve.
That's a good point.
Good point.
We have a question here. Jake, where can we see an overview of the tokens that you handle?
Yes. So if you go onto the online portal and you're looking through, you can buy, you can sell, and things like that. You can search all of the coins that we offer directly via there. So we have an asset listing page as well within the portal, and you can quite literally search, all right, BTC, yep, they trade Bitcoin. T Fuel, yes, they trade T Fuel. Or, oh God, we've listed some wild ones recently that I can't even remember the names off the top of my head. But if there's a specific coin you're looking for and you're going on the portal, you're searching for it, you just can't seem to see it anywhere, nothing's coming up. In that instance, you can actually reach out to your broker and say, hey, Andrew, Billy, Martin, whoever it may be, I really want to purchase this token. It's a really difficult one to get. Can Caleb and Brown try and list it for me? We can turn around new coin listings same day. So yeah, if we can't list a coin, your broker will tell you why we can't list a coin, because sometimes it might be important information. For example, if there is a coin that had their smart contract compromised on several occasions and there's not many people validating the transactions on that network, we'll tell you directly. Like back in the day, we spoke to a lot of clients about Ethereum Classic, and remember BSV, that Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, broadly regarded as a scam, but I won't get into that. Those tokens had issues about being double spent because the blockchain was so monopolistic that realistically transactions could be rolled back, and in instances they actually were. So we'll relay that to clients and say, hey, we'd love to help you out here, but we can't actually list this coin because of this colossal flaw in the project or this major controversy, or maybe the coin only has $1,000 of daily trade volume around the world. And is that really something you want to be getting yourself into? Because we can't even buy it if we tried. So they're the kind of conversations we'll have with you. Or alternatively, we'll be able to list a coin and then everyone's happy.
And that's really great because that's protecting your clients as well, which gives people confidence to be in this space, because if they know they've got someone that's going to protect you from possible scam coins and stuff like that, that's huge. Because we don't have enough of that, especially on crypto Twitter and all that. You just people throwing out random scams, and people every day. I mean, we've had probably 10 to 15 people coming in here to the club asking us if we can help them get their money back, and it's just the same old. And at least once or twice a week, you've got that situation. So that's nice to see that Caleb and Brown is looking out for the people out there who are in this industry and space.
Yeah. I'll be fully transparent with you. Just in the last 48 hours alone, I've myself directly and people sitting around me in the office have spoken to clients, confirming with them over the phone that their accounts have been compromised because they accidentally gave someone their 2FA code and they used the same email with Caleb and Brown and the same password with Caleb and Brown as they've used for 25 years. And they've put that same password into another website, not crypto related at all. Yeah. Their keys have been taken from that malicious website, and then someone has used those key login details to attempt every other login associated with that email, which is all very easy to uncover if someone has compromised your details. And then lo and behold, they've been called by the individual inside their emails, and they've socially engineered them to give up their two-factor authentication to various crypto exchanges and attempts with a brokerage like our own. And unfortunately, in this instance, the clients, they're a great individual, but they're not tech savvy or experienced in this particular part of life. Other areas, they're an expert, but this is just a bit of a weak point for them. And thankfully, everything was fine. We managed to get the account frozen. No coins were compromised or anything like that, which is, fortunately, that is the case. And that's what we always work to achieve. And we're very lucky that we can, your heart rate's going up, but you stop things before it's too late. So thankful for that. But the bottom line is social engineering in the space and scams in the space run rampant. And it's all good and well to make money on your Bitcoin. But if someone takes it all from you, what's it really worth then?
Well, let me ask you a question real quick, Jake. AI, as this moves forward, is it going to be a lot simpler for scams to be a possibility with that? I think it is, personally, myself. What do you think?
The answer, I believe, is yes and no on both sides. So on one hand, the infrastructure that allows a malicious actor to do bad has now increased. So it's like you've gone from a criminal having a baton to having a rifle, and now they've gone from having a rifle to a full military arsenal, basically, if you want to look at it like that. But on the defensive side, the amount of corporate solutions and also just retail individual solutions bolstered by AI technology to empower greater security is also increasing at the same time. So on our end, there's a lot of things that we have behind the scenes which we can't publicly state and advertise for our own security purposes, but there's a lot of technology and third-party companies that we engage with that help us ensure those greater safety nets about being able to predict if a client's account has maybe not been accessed by them, or being able to understand the logic which could indicate that someone's account might be being under threat based on their email and how their emails are being flown across the internet. There are so many ways that we can invest using the better 2025 technology to also safeguard clients. So I personally think it's just going to be a battle between will the offensive or the defensive side of the equation advance the technology faster. And what we're seeing right now is both sides are growing. The scams are getting more complex, but companies who are investing in consumer protection can frankly have much better protection today than they could have even just 6 months ago.
And what I want to say to anyone that signs up with you is to be patient. And the reason I say that is y'all are thorough. You're thorough with confirming that it's the person, verifying that it's the person. There are multiple steps every customer goes through, but wow, that makes you feel good about it because you're making sure that we are who we say we are, and that this is all on the up and up. So I mean, there's not a transaction that happens that we're not on the phone with someone. It's excellent, that thoroughness. It's not as maybe quick as signing up, but golly, the support you have and the assurance that you've got this, it's legitimately done and it's not getting lost. That's amazing. We have a question here. Another one. Is it possible to do pools or staking at Caleb and Brown with Theta and can't tell what the other one is? FI? I don't know what FI is.
Well, look, it'll be the same answer irrespective of the tokens involved. We know a lot of clients stake Theta, a lot of clients stake numerous coins. A lot of clients utilize platforms like DeFi platforms like Aave to lend out tokens, for example. They do everything. Our clients do everything they please. What I would say is we cannot stake on behalf of clients at this point in time. The main reason for that, there's one reason, which is just regulatory clarity. I know that's a very boring answer, but it is an honest answer. We just need to have clarity on what various jurisdictions around the world, what kind of stance they take on the matter of staking. And because if we're going to do it, we need to make sure that we can offer a service which aligns with our legal standing and our obligations that we already have as a company. We don't want to offer new products that are in a more gray, murky area. So that's one part of the question. The second answer there as well is that staking in some instances can be counterintuitive to a business who is endeavoring to have the greatest security possible. So when you store a coin and we generate a unique offline wallet for you, when the coins move into that wallet and there's multiple signatures, various policies, there's so much behind the scenes to just protect that $3 worth of Ethereum you might have in your wallet. Like it's over-engineered to the max. We build our custody solution to scale for the service of billions of dollars, which of course we do custody for. If you've got $500 or $2,000, you're getting the $1 billion product for $2,000. Now, if we allow staking, we would not be able to use that same custody solution necessarily. We may have to move those coins into a separate wallet altogether. In the case of Theta, there's a lockup period. So if we were to stake a client's Theta, and that's generating, I believe it generates T fuel through the staking process. If we were to do that, we'd have to go through a different third party, a different application altogether. There's a lockup period of, I think, 48 hours every time you want to unstake Theta, which means if the market moves dramatically and you want to sell your coins, your broker's going to say, hey, we can't sell your coins because we won't even have access to them for 48 hours because you staked them. And in 48 hours, the price might come down 10%. Which means you would have been better off never staking it and just selling at the higher price instead of staking it, having a headache, and getting a few dollars of extra free tokens, but you missed the high price point. So there's a number of things to consider, and I'm just trying to be as honest as I can here. But the bottom line is we would love to explore staking. We certainly have resources to do that. We just need to make sure that A, the regulatory side is not an issue whatsoever, and B, it doesn't impede on our custody standards that we have.
It just gives such peace of mind to have a company like we're here talking to you in person through StreamYard, but it's just wonderful to have that, because this space, again, so much stuff is just done electronically, and this face to face makes all the difference, because we're trying to figure out how to increase security and that individual. That's why we're here, so people can come in personally and see us and know we're here to help, because there are so many scams in the space. One of the things I love, I don't think you have any sign up fees at Caleb and Brown. And
there's no obligation to use us at all
no
either. Like,
they
have
can,
an account,
they
speak
can
to us.
sign up. Yeah, sign up, talk to a broker, right? No charge.
Yep.
And then
No.
may or may not send anything in. And we have a link right here. This is a referral code. So this is really nice that Caleb and Brown does have affiliate codes. So, because Todd and I have recommended Caleb and Brown for 3+ years.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we finally have a referral code. And it's nice that we are in the shared economy. And as anyone getting into the space, you have affiliate codes with Amazon. If you're looking at links that come through with that cute shirt you want to buy and you follow the link, they get a little bit of something. It's the same thing. It's a little reward for sharing those referrals. So anyone that hasn't signed up, click on that link there and you'll get right to Caleb and Brown. And even in the month of February, I think you're doubling the referral code amount that you reward your clients with as they bring other ones on board. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that we do have that in place right now. And then as markets move, we constantly have various discounts, giveaways. If we need clients to even just test new features before we put them live, instead of testing it internally, we'll often reach out to clients and ask them to test it and give us their honest feedback. And then through that, we can then do giveaways and stuff to kind of incentivize that that ability to help us out and so forth. So using any form of affiliate code, whether you're listening to this and signing up, or whether you already have an account and you're trying to get your brother-in-law to get an account, whatever the case may be, it definitely makes it a lot cleaner, and it's easier too, because it means that the brokers can work within set communities, which means they'll actually know the people you know. They know where in America you're from, who your neighbor who signed up is. It makes it immeasurably easier, and it's a really nice experience when it's like that.
Like I'm in residential real estate, and referrals are everything. I don't really want to work with people I don't know, because there's a trust that's built there with a referral. Like, we are so grateful to Bitcoin Ben Simchi, who introduced us to you, Caleb and Brown. And that's who, for 3 years, we have been signing people up under Ben's referral code, and we've been so happy to do it. He has helped so many people get connected with your company, and you've protected so many of us over the years. And as it's growing, it's just amazing watching it, because I know there's this huge worldwide reach with what you're doing. It's really exciting. And you've got over, I'm going to say this again, over a decade of experience here. And it's really just a flat fee if people buy, sell, or swap, right?
Yeah, correct. It's just a flat fee. We like the idea of being old school and transparent. So if someone says, Jake, I want to swap this altcoin into this altcoin, or I want to use US dollars to buy this, or I want to sell this coin, we'll say, yep, this is what the fee is going to be. It's going to be to the nearest cent. This is going to cost $207.53 US or Australian dollars, whatever the case may be. And it's black and white. It's on an invoice. There's no strings attached. We don't make any money on dynamic spreads, which is actually probably one of the lesser known facts in the space. The majority of exchanges are not making money on an advertised fee or a withdrawal cost or anything like that. It's when the market is volatile and the spread that you take can become dynamic. So if the market's exceedingly volatile, you can try and make an extra 1.5% on this trade or an extra 2% on that trade. I'm not going to name names, but some exchanges are great and some exchanges are a little bit cavalier and advantageous when the markets are ripe. I think that's a polite way of saying some exchanges don't have an issue with ripping you off.
I also think you have great, like institutional grade liquidity. Because some of these, as Bitcoin becomes more and more scarce, which look, out of 21 million, 19.9's been mined. hello scarce, right? When all of the countries come on board. So anyone looking to buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, you might not be able to get it on some of these other exchanges out there. But if anyone can get it, Caleb and Brown can get it. And that means a lot too when you're trying to do your business and have that flow and know you can count on your company.
Absolutely. And people as well can sign up using more complex entities too. A lot of clients through your community leverage trust accounts, LLCs. They might tell their family about their account with Caleb and Brown. They might update their will to reflect the fact that they own crypto with Caleb and Brown. Obviously, it's a taboo topic that no one wants to think about, but in the event that someone passes away, and of course, we have tens and tens of thousands of clients around the world, we have unfortunately had people who, due to illness, sickness, injury, whatever the case may be, we've had to reach out to their family and have our compliance team navigate that process of making sure the assets go to the rightful beneficiaries. And we're aware of these things being problems, and we're aware of these things being very uncomfortable subjects. So we can make all this significantly easier by trying to tell clients, hey, like if you're setting up a trust account, maybe consider doing this. It's 5 minutes work. Or why don't you let your wife know you've got an account with us over here? And all those small things in between. If you've got an accountant or a lawyer or whatever the case may be, we can give transaction information directly to them with your permission, of course, so they can manage things like your accounting, your taxes, whatever kind of affair it may be. So we just try and take the heavy lifting off your shoulders so you can just focus on picking the investments you want to make, bouncing the ideas off your broker, if you will. And that's pretty much it. And the rest just gets taken care of.
And I know personally, you guys do not want to hold everyone's funds, their coins or anything like that. You're ready to get rid of them as soon as they buy it and stuff, which is really different from most of them, because I know a lot of the exchanges out there, they limit to how much you can take out and everything. And with you guys, it's always been easy. It's like, hey, I'm going to buy it. And then, usually within 24 to 48 hours, you get it to the clients and stuff. So I know firsthand from experience with you guys, you do not want to hold it. You will, but that's something you prefer not to do, correct?
We, on our end, we let clients purchase coins before the funds clear. So if a client sends money on Christmas Day, we know the bank's not going to credit the funds for 2 business days. If they just have a little receipt, the broker will say, don't stress, you've sent a receipt of your bank wire, your bank transfer. We'll get that order executed for you right away. And that can be a large order as well. And then from that point forward, if a client says, hey, I've got my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, and my Solana address, as an example, whatever the case may be, they can just simply provide that via an email. They can send all those details across, or they can upload it via the online portal, whichever they prefer. We just want to make sure it gets thoroughly tested first. We want to make sure that the client is receiving a dollar or two off the tokens. We'll test it out. We'll review it on our side to make sure it's a successful transaction. Go through the multi-factor authentication to verify and whitelist that address. And only then can we safely send the coins out. So sometimes the delay is only due to the fact that maybe the transaction's not going through. The wallet's a little bit clunky. We don't want to rush these things. But if everything's organized on the client side, we can get coins sent out within a minute. That's not a problem at all. On our end, we gain absolutely nothing from holding coins for clients, and we lose absolutely nothing by sending coins out to clients. We're not generating revenue from coins held in our account. If a client holds assets with us, it's a liability and a cost for us to take care of it. We don't generate any revenue on it. So we spend very large sums of money every year to maintain the human resources and the technical resources to have the custody solution we have. That's a cost of business that we need to have regardless of whether clients use it or not. Clients want to use it, by all means. And if they don't, by all means. The only thing we care about is, are the coins ultimately safe? And if they're not, then we're going to give you a call and make sure we rectify and fix that.
I can definitely verify. I sent a small amount last year and you made the buy within minutes of me sending in the receipt, but my bank held the funds and they called me about 3 days later. Like, are you sending money to Cuba? I'm like, what? I'm not sending money to Cuba. Why do you think I'm sending money to Cuba? And there was like a customer number, and I'm like, no, I'm not sending money to Cuba.
They thought the CU on the customer number probably meant you're sending it to
Yes. And they finally released them, but you bought them right when I sent it, right when I instructed to buy it at the price it was at that time. That means so much. And one thing you said that I just hadn't thought about is that what if somebody did, like if they were getting older and they were concerned about their seed phrases or whatever? I mean, if I were going to trust someone, because we always say, not your keys, not your coins. We encourage self custody here at the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. But if I were going to trust someone to hold my coins, I would trust Caleb and Brown. So, I mean, you think about some of the advice is to split up what you have in crypto, not have it all in one place, and having some at an exchange where there's a direction to a trust, to an executor, to someone, you had all that in place. That actually gives peace of mind. I really actually appreciate that you're willing to do it either way.
Yeah, I think we just, like, personally speaking, I've been full-time in cryptocurrency as from an employment standpoint for 8 years now. And I've been full-time in crypto from a investment thesis standpoint since 2013. So for me, I've spent so much time in this market, like so much of my life has surrounded this industry. And I was in cryptocurrency during the collapse of Mt. Gox, Quadriga X, Cryptopia in New Zealand, my FTX, of course, and Celsius. I've seen Bitcoin collapse 90%. I've seen Bitcoin go up 900%, everything else in between. So on my end, and this reconciles with everybody else in the company, you have spent so much time in formative years being stressed about this market and having to learn things the hard way. You eventually get to a point where you just want to have a very direct and simple approach with no salesmanship or flair or bells and whistles, no over-promising and under-delivering. You actually just want to be honest with people because you recognize that it's just such an easier way of navigating this wild market if you're just upfront and honest. So for us, we might tell clients, hey, this is what we do. We can't trade all your coins for you and make decisions for you. We can't offer you leverage trading. And they say, oh, but I signed up because I wanted to leverage trade. And we say, oh, well, unfortunately, we can't help you there. But hey, any other questions, reach out anytime. Wish you all the best on your crypto journey. We're not trying to overpromise anything here. So when it comes to custody and anything else in between, we just want to tell clients straight up, like, hey, if you're storing coins with us, I'm not going to lie to you. It is an exceedingly safe way that you can store cryptocurrency. We hold multiple billions of dollars. We've never lost a cent. And we have so many steps and measures and isolations, you name it, to ensure that. But if you want to hold coins in your own wallet, I personally absolutely appreciate that. I hold coins with Caleb and Brown. I hold coins in my own wallets. I've done so for several years now. Let's just make sure that's a really safe, proper, professional experience. So you're going to feel empowered no matter which decision you make. And I can tell you firsthand, we're not making any money if you hold coins with us anyway. So we win so long as your coins are safe. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's true concierge service. It is. What advice would you have to someone new to Bitcoin? We, have people listening and they're going to be listening after this. What do you see that they might need to know?
What was that? Sorry, I just cut out for about 2 seconds into that question. It just froze for a second. Sorry.
Yeah. What advice would you have for those new to Bitcoin?
If someone's new to Bitcoin and they've never invested in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency before, I would personally take the first steps of learning about the foundation of Bitcoin and more of the thesis surrounding it, taking a step away from the price action and the news headlines and volatility. There are some great documentaries from several years ago. The names precede me now. I think Banking on Bitcoin is one of them. If you learn about the original foundations of what Hal Finney and Satoshi were looking to create on the back of the GFC and the empowerment of moving on from this currency system that puts so much trust in the politics to a currency system that just has trust defined by principally mathematics that can be peer-to-peer. Learning about the foundation and the thesis of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, if something else is your interest, I think that's the first step. Because if you just invest in it because your neighbor said you should buy Bitcoin, if the price goes down 10% tomorrow, it's going to be a stressful experience because you don't understand what you're investing in. Whereas if you go out of your way to actively learn about what is this wildly new technology piece that I've never heard of before that everyone's now talking about, if you learn about it first and foremost and what it's actually intended to achieve, then investing in it becomes an empowering experience and you're less susceptible to freaking out if the price goes down because you kind of know that's a part of the game. So I would actually take the approach of don't worry about the technical stuff. upskill yourself in the rationality behind why you want to invest in this, and then go forward from there. And then I would say make sure that you've got some people, whether it's friends or family, colleagues, or a broker, like someone like myself or someone in the company, who you can then start to bounce ideas off, knowing that person is not trying to scam you or do anything like that. And then you can just take baby steps from there and maybe buy a few $100s worth, try to check it, put it in your ledger or your Trezor, understand your custody with Caleb and Brown, and then just baby steps, you'll start to get a lot more empowered and confident.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. I mean, we tell people it's volatile. You know, you got to have a stomach for it. You need to know what you're doing. I mean, that's why we're education. We're not financial advisors. We want them to understand it, because once they do, when they get it, they get it. And we recommend holding it for 4 years. We have a 15-year history with Bitcoin. We have these 4-year cycles. I think this year, though, has a lot of unique things that are going to happen that have never been figured in to the price of Bitcoin. And that's why you see these wild, numbers. What was Kathy Wood said yesterday, saw it going up to 1.5 million. I don't know that it'll do that this year. That'd be great. But
I'll take that. I won't be
all
a 15 times growth. Yeah, we'll take that. So there's all different kinds of ranges. But just for people getting in new, I think that's really great advice and really helpful. They really need to know what they're doing. And Todd says a lot. He says, just get off zero. Right?
Get off zero, hodl. It's pretty simple, and it is an asset. It's no different than the stock market. It's going to fluctuate up and down. It's been a lot of sideways lately, which is not bad. But there's always that possibility it could drop. And I always tell people, I was like, look, you've got to live. You've got to be able to keep a roof over your head, food on the table, and pay your bills. Don't put everything you've got into it, but just start hodling, start dollar cost averaging in, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, we did a podcast yesterday with a couple of gentlemen, and one had never bought any. So I said, "Do you have Venmo?" So I'm like, "Go buy it on Venmo." So he did it while we were on the podcast. He bought $50 worth. I'm like, "You can buy it right now, but you need to understand it and know if you can move it to a wallet. Like you do need some help in understanding it, but instead of fearing it, kind of embrace it." But security is the biggest thing, holding it, being secure, and knowing that you trust your source. That's why we really wanted to interview you today. We love Caleb and Brown, and we want to recommend people and companies that we trust, because these are our neighbors, our family members, our community here locally. Having a brick and mortar, it has a whole different level of just being thoughtful with everything that we do. We have clubs in Sarasota. They're listening right now. We have a club in Massachusetts, in Leominster, outside of Boston. We're about to open in St. Louis and Dallas, Las Vegas, Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Scottsdale, Tampa. I mean,
yeah, we've got a couple of beach resorts in what is it, El Salvador? Yeah, El Salvador.
El Salvador. Yeah. We have so much coming with the Bitcoin Ben brand and all of his business ventures worldwide that we wouldn't be there without Caleb and Brown. I mean, Caleb and Brown has been such a force for so many of our community. And we're so excited and grateful and excited to hear about the app that's coming. I mean, I think you even have like a digital asset fund, right? This might be for accredited investors. Is that right?
Yeah. So we have 4 funds, 2 in Australia and 2 in the USA, which are for accredited investors. It's a complete alternative way of investing and getting exposure to the market. It's not something which we advertise as such, largely because it's not something that it's a different framework to spot trading crypto versus an actively managed fund, of course. But principally, as a company, we have our own treasury, which we've grown over the years. And we got to a point where we needed to have a team that would actively manage our treasury so that we can have our balance sheet and our assets that we've accrued over the years continue to stay solid and grow and grow and grow. So we ended up establishing that as a department within our company. And then through going through such an intense process to get that up from a regulatory standpoint, we thought, well, we can actually legally offer this to clients. So if people were interested, that is something that they can explore. I would say that if someone wants to have an entirely hands-off approach to crypto and they just want to have exposure at a modest level to an actively managed way of having cryptocurrency exposure, then an actively managed fund is a good option. Obviously, it depends completely on the individual. But then for the vast majority of our clients, it's that exciting process of getting your hands dirty with a new asset class. And that involves getting stressed about how to use a ledger or a Trezor. It means calling your broker at 1 o'clock in the morning, freaking out because the market's gone down. I think there is something fun and exciting. It certainly keeps you young when you're actively involved in the markets and you're seeing the upside, the downside, everything in between. So the 99% of our clients are, of course, invested in that capacity.
It is the Wild West still.
It is. I mean, look, the number one performing digital asset last year was the Pepe coin, a meme coin. It went up like 1,500%. Like, this is the wildest space to be in. It's so much fun. I don't know how you sleep. I mean, we have trouble sleeping. It's so much fun.
And we're way older than you too, so it shouldn't be hard for us to sleep, but it is sometimes.
You're not old. I don't
yeah, look, sleep is definitely not a characteristic that I'm advertising for myself. It's pretty bad, but you know, I had someone deliver a coffee literally in the middle of this, so you probably get the idea of where we're at.
Totally. I hear your phone blowing up too, so I'm not shocked.
You've got a busy day there. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with everyone about Caleb and Brown?
Well, look, I'm going to be spending a lot of time in America, as will a lot of the other people in the team. I'll be going across in May, June period. So I'm excited to meet a lot of people in the community and check out the clubs and things like that. That'll be really awesome.
Okay.
I would say that if anyone's interested in testing out our mobile app or getting more understanding of some of the new products on the horizon, just send an email to your broker and we'll jump on a call and walk you through all of that. And I really just think at the end of the day, like, I just want to make it clear that whilst we are a business that obviously we keep our lights on, we buy our laptops and pay our wages through transaction fees, just like any other business would. But in the same time, we sincerely have a very passionate ecosystem of team members. And as a result of that, everyone is actually happy to go out of their way to meet you, to speak to you. If you want a phone call and you don't even have an account with us, you just really want to just understand us a bit more, you might have some personal questions you might want to have answered for you. We actually welcome that. Like, we're not trying to be some dodgy sales company only speaking to these clients and not speaking to anyone else. So I would just really encourage people to reach out if you have any questions related to us or related to the market as a whole, because we do want to help people.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you have anything to add?
Jake, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, because I know you're blowing it up down there and everything. So we really do appreciate the time that you've given us to talk to our people out here and kind of explain your services and everything. You know, it's something Janet and I highly recommend is Caleb and Brown, and Jake and them do a great job. They really do put the customer in customer service. And I would highly recommend anybody that's not using Caleb and Brown and you want to purchase, you know, Bitcoin cryptos, these guys, top notch. Concierge service, very recommended.
I second all.
You're welcome.
All of that. The link is below here on the screen for anyone that wants more information on Caleb and Brown. You can reach us here if you want to reach Todd and Janet here at the Bitcoin Ben Club. We are Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club Nashville.com. And our number is 562-526-0813. That will get you to all of the clubs. Jake, just lovely. Thank you so much for your time today, and your entire team and staff. Tell all of them hi, Andrew, Sean, everyone, Sam.
It's Andrew's birthday today too, so I've got to go get him a birthday cake or something.
Tell him happy birthday.
That's great.
And guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your day.
Take
care.
Thank you.
Bye.